In 2023, there was this challenge that was trending on TikTok. It's called the cactus challenge. So parents would buy a cactus toy, a dancing cactus toy. So what this toy will do is it will mimic whatever the child says. And it will move in a way that was weird. In a way that was creepy. So they'll buy that toy, place it next to their baby. Their baby will maybe make some noises. You know, babies like to make noises. And the cactus would mimic whatever the child said. And the child will be scared. The child will start to cry. And then the cactus will cry. When the child gets quiet, then the cactus is also quiet. When the child says mommy, the cactus also say mommy. And they'll post videos on TikTok of their baby's reaction. They'll be able to see that the baby is genuinely scared. Because that is creepy. Human beings can experience fear when they see something creepy. Like when you're watching a horror movie, you can experience fear, even if you know that it's a movie. So can you imagine you have an experience, you don't know that, let's just say someone is trying to prank you, but you don't know that this person is trying to prank you. To you, it's real. You experience genuine fear, right? One of the scariest horror films that I've watched is called Smile. Creepy. Smile Part 2 is actually creepier than Part 1. Now this lady will see people laughing, or smiling actually, not laughing. Like they'll have this weird, disgusting smile in a room. And when she will try to move back, they'll come after her. Will move in a way that was weird. And I'll be like, if that happened in real life, imagine the amount of fear that a human being will feel. So imagine a baby seeing a cactus. Remember, a baby doesn't even have, like, we're talking about a toddler, right? These kids don't even know what they're experiencing. Right? They experience fear. They can't even run. They're too young to understand what is going on. When you look at the way that the world works, you can see that something is playing with our emotions. And it's getting something out of it. You can say that it's energy. You can say that entertainment. You can say that it's much easier for it to control us when we feel different emotions, right? Human beings are emotional. We like to say that only women are emotional and they're controlled by their emotions. No, even men are controlled by their emotions. We're talking about emotional creatures. Someone asked me a very important question. They said, if this is a hell room, if you are right, Benedictine, because you keep on saying this is a hell room, if this really is a hell room, why is it not as worse as possible? Because I can't imagine a world that's 100 times worse than this. That's because whatever is getting something from our suffering is getting enough. If it got a lot more, maybe everyone would wake up. So the idea is to manipulate all of us. Like, we mustn't suffer too much that we just get it. Like, oh, there's a higher room. Like, it mustn't become too obvious, right? It mustn't become too obvious that we're abused in this realm. We're being, abused emotionally. We're being abused physically. We're being made to feel all these kinds of emotions every day. When you wake up, you're always wondering what's going to happen. You go to work, you're afraid that one day they might say you're fired. You're in a relationship, you're afraid that one day the person that you're in a relationship with can say, hey, it's over. You're afraid that the person that you're in a relationship with can cheat, and you find out that they were cheating, and you don't know how you will be able to deal with that. You're afraid that you might receive some news that the person that you love, the person that you depend on, has passed on. You're afraid that you might wake up and become sick, and then when you go to a hospital, they tell you that you have a terminal illness. We're afraid of a lot of things. We're afraid of the unknown. We don't even know what is going on. We don't even know what's next. In 2020, we had to deal with COVID. What is next now? People be talking about another world war. We don't know what's next. We are living in fear because we don't even understand anything. I think we're supposed to not understand anything so that we will feel all these emotions. Because if we understood everything, maybe we wouldn't be scared of anything. People fear what they don't understand. So if you truly understand something, it's not very easy for you to fear it. If you understand, like, snakes, you understand cobras, black mambas, you might not really be that afraid of them. Because you understand it, like, okay, if I do this, it's going to react this way. I can catch it, and you know what I'm saying? We fear what we don't understand. The reason why the babies will cry and be in fear is because they don't understand that toy. The parents understand that, oh, it's just a toy, but the babies don't. But ask yourself this question: why did many parents buy that toy? Was it to keep the child quiet? It may seem so. Or they actually enjoyed watching their baby in fear because they understood what was going on, but the baby didn't. You see? So when something bad happens to you in this room, whatever trapped us here, it understands what's going on. It understands what death is. When the person dies, it understands fully what death is. You don't. And it gets something out of that. Because you're going to cry. If your mother dies, you're going to cry. If your father dies, you're going to cry. If your husband dies, you're going to cry. If your friend dies, you're going to cry. This reminds me of the movie Truman Show. I was actually watching it today. I have not finished the movie. I've just decided to rewatch it. I do think it's important that as you reach high levels of consciousness, you rewatch the movies that you used to watch, especially movies that you liked and that you can learn a lot from. You rewatch The Matrix, you rewatch The Truman Show, you rewatch series like Westworld, very brilliant TV series. You rewatch movies like Inception. There will always be something new that you're gonna get out of watching these movies. It's always gonna be something new because you're also evolving. When you watch The Matrix for the first time when you were still a kid, you just like the action. People be dodging bullets. Wearing shades. Looking good. you know, showing you some cool karate moves. But as you get older and you keep on rewatching these movies, you see, like, you start to understand a lot. You know, you see similarities between this reality and what's happening in the movie. You're like, huh? Is it possible that we might actually be living in a matrix? Because it seems that way. Like, after watching the movie, I can see how that might have happened. You know, they predicted the rise of artificial intelligence. Look at where we are at now. Look at what you are able to do with artificial intelligence. You can make a movie now with artificial intelligence, and it looks like, you know, if you weren't told that, you know, they used artificial intelligence to make some of these movies, and we didn't know there was artificial intelligence, we would think these movies are real. These videos that we see trending on TikTok, we would think that these videos are real. We didn't know that it's just prompt. I saw a video where this guy was battling with artificial intelligence. It killed him. A rap battle. it killed, it destroyed. We're talking about a rapper, a very good rapper. He was not really freestyling. AI was freestyling. So you could see what you can actually learn from these old movies that we've watched. These movies that we just thought were just movies. If this wasn't a hell realm, things wouldn't be the way that they are. I do understand that we don't know a lot about existence, but just because we don't know a lot about existence, it doesn't mean that we can't imagine how a better world would be, or how a world that we prefer to live in would be. You know, we're not even talking about what we go through, like, as people. Like, I got flu. It's like saving flu. It's cold. It's winter in South Africa. If this wasn't a hell room, things wouldn't be the way that they are. I want you to understand that. If this was not a hell room, things wouldn't be the way that they are. You wouldn't even experience fear, bro. We live in fear. You know, we can try our best to conquer our emotions, our feelings, but it's hard. And if you're still trapped in the human body, it's, you know, it's a lot of work. We're not suffering as much as possible because there's no need. Whatever brought us here is getting what it wants. See, the point isn't that we must just suffer. Like, that's it. Like, that's the whole point. Like, there is something that is benefiting from our suffering. The same way that when a parent watches their kid reacting to a cactus, there's something that they're gaining. Watching the kid and they laugh. You know, it's funny that the kid is reacting the way that they're reacting. But the kid is experiencing genuine fear. As humans, we are very selfish and we don't even realize that. We don't know how to put ourselves in other people's shoes. So Parent will look at the baby, and the baby is crying because they're scared of the cactus. They know that, okay, it's just a cactus, it does no harm, but they don't realize that they're harming the kid. The kid is probably going to have nightmares because of that experience. That's what's going on in this room. I told you that not caring is a superpower. If you cared about nothing, you'll be on another level, because nothing seemed to be real anyway, right? But the problem is that we do care, and we're programmed to care, so it's hard to not care, because if you didn't care at all, you probably go through more than what others are going through, because you're not even doing anything. Like, I don't care. You want me to go to school and study things that I don't really, find interesting? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to live my life. It is what it is. I'm just going to live my life. Okay, you grow up, you don't have money, no one is taking you seriously, you end up homeless, and maybe decide that you're going to rob people, you end up in prison. You know what I mean? Like, even if you don't care, you could suffer. What happens is that you suffer physically. You end up suffering physically. Because as a human, you are not totally free. You can't just say, you know what, I don't want to eat, and you're fine. If this wasn't a hell room, things would be simpler. It would be easy to quit your job and still be okay. Like, people go through trauma, bro, in this room. A man can lose his job. I'm talking about a hard-working man. He can lose his job, go back home, tell his wife. That's the time that he actually needs his wife, right? A man who has lost his job is a man who needs his family. And his wife leaves. Now she's with another man. That's gonna break him. These are the kind of experiences that people have. You find that he's totally hopeless. He gave the woman everything. And it's so crazy that the more you love a person, the more they take you for granted. Like, it's crazy. It's like, if you want a woman to really treat you well, to respect you, even a man, they gotta know they can lose you at any time. Like, the imagine God at for. Like, if a person knows they can get away, this is how bullies test their targets, You're walking in a hallway, and then a bully sees you and says something about your shoes. Where did you buy these shoes? Look at your facial expression. You seem shy. You seem embarrassed. Like, okay, that's my guy. That's my guy. The next day, So life is like, it sucks. People are struggling because they are alone. It sucks that we were built to connect with others. Whether I would like that or not, human beings want companionship. But these days, the best advice that I can give a person is that you're better off alone. Knowing damn well that even if you're alone, you still will need someone you can talk to, right? So there's loneliness. People deal with loneliness. You have nothing as a man. No one wants to be with you. So you're lonely because of that. That's real pain. That's real pain. As a woman, men have used you. No one really wanted to be with you. That's real pain. We want things that we cannot have. That's pain. That's suffering. Like, this matrix hasn't made it easy for us to get what we want. So we have to sacrifice a lot to get the minimum. Right? Like, we have to do too much to get things that should be easy to get. If this wasn't a hell room, things wouldn't be like this. Life will make sense. People would be happy. As we get older, we become less happy than we used to be. By the time you hit the age of 40, you forget what happiness feels like. You don't even know how to be happy anymore. You know what it's like to be sad because you're always sad. You realize the truth about humanity. One thing that we must realize is that people are only showing us what they think we want to see. And that's how our relationships are built. Our relationships are not built on truth. If we really knew the people that we love, everyone would prefer being alone. Everyone. So people have to act. If this wasn't a hell room, things wouldn't be the way that they are. We will be able to love one another genuinely. You see a person and you love them for who they are. Not just love being around them, but just love them. Love them for existing, wanting what is best for them. You know how many people who are in your life who actually don't want what's best for you? They want what is best for them. And they confuse that with them wanting what is best for you. There's something that my ex-girlfriend said, and that was really deep. She said, she didn't want me anymore. Me and her dated for like 2 years, but she reached a point where she didn't want me anymore. It happens. So I was trying to get her back, trying to be smart with her. One day she said something important. She goes, we'll talk for hours, bro. Me trying to convince her to come back to me. She said, if you love me, you'd have to let me go. And I thought these words were deep. Because maybe you can find yourself loving someone, but you're not what is best for them. Right? And they know that. And maybe you also know that. So maybe to love another person isn't just loving being around them, but it's also wanting what is best for them. So if you realize that you're standing in the way of their success, you're standing in the way of their happiness, maybe if you love them, you'll be like, look, what is best for you is that you're with that guy. Maybe he's going to give you what you need. Maybe he will be able to make you happy. Maybe you're more compatible with him. And me, I just want to be with you. But I'm being selfish because I can't give you what you want. That guy has money, I have nothing. So I had to look deep within. Why do I want to be with this person? The real truth is that I love myself. I'm not what is best for them, but I love myself. I don't love them, I love myself. So even if they're suffering in our relationship, as long as they're with me, I'm good, I'm happy, even if they are not happy. It's crazy, right? But that's what sucks about life, bro. It's not even easy to be happy. You don't meet that many people that make you happy. And you find that some of these people that make you happy, they don't want to be in your life, maybe most of them. And even if they decide to be in your life, they end up breaking your heart, and you end up suffering more, end up producing more loosh. It sucks. There's a lot going on that tells us that we are really in a hell realm, and we need to be honest with ourselves, because it doesn't help lying to ourselves, just to feel better. I know we all want to feel better. I want to feel better. I want to believe that we're having a positive experience. I want to believe that, and that would make me feel good. To believe that I'm suffering for something great, and I'm going to get rewarded for what I had to go through, right? In the end, I will get what I want, and even if it's not in this life, maybe in another life, but I will be rewarded, because being a human is not easy, right? Being a human being is not easy. Being in a world where you know nothing, but you are forced to do a lot of things that you don't even want to do to survive, that is not easy. There's a reason why we're against traffickers. Someone kidnaps a woman, make them a prostitute. We're against that. Why? Because we know that it's wrong to force a person to do what they don't want to do. And in this realm, we are forced by life itself to do the things that we don't want to do just to survive. You don't really have a choice. Yeah? It's not like you can be like, you know what, all of this is too much. Can I go back to wherever I come from? Can you assist me to go back to wherever I come from? That's not allowed. Once you're here, you are here. You are obligated to do these things that you don't really want to do just to survive. If you don't do these things, life finds a way to punish you. Nature finds a way to punish you, So you gotta always be doing something. Never realize that if you do nothing at all, you become bored. You become bored and depressed. That's why people keep themselves busy. When I'm really going through something, I like to keep myself busy. I'm not a kind of person that likes to keep my room super clean. I'm not the kind of person who likes to wash my clothes all the time. Like, just be doing things, that are productive. Like, I do these things, but just sometimes, not regularly. But if I'm going through something, I'm going to try to distract myself and be like, okay, let me make sure that everything is clean. Everything is clean. Like, you know what I mean? You just keep yourself busy. Because if you're just going to chill like this, you become bored. And when you become bored, that's when you start asking a lot of questions about what is really going on, and you don't even find the answers. You start to just, realize how bad things are really, and you don't always want to be thinking about that. Sometimes you just want to, take a break from seeing things as they are, or not necessarily seeing things as they are, but from seeing things really. You just be doing stuff and keeping yourself distracted. Sometimes that is good. Sometimes it's good to take a break. Allow yourself to heal. Feel much better. But you always have to be doing stuff as a human. That's what really sucks. Living flu sucks. You can't ask to be frozen when you're bored. You have nothing to do the whole day. Be like, you know what, man? Can I just be frozen? Can I just sleep and not even dream? Because you're probably gonna have messed up dreams. It sucks that even when we sleep, we would have bad dreams when we're not feeling good. Like you don't really get a break If you're not feeling good, you're gonna have bad dreams. So this can't be easy for a lot of people who are very conscious, who understand what freedom is, you know, because sometimes it boils down to that. Some people don't know what they actually deserve, you know. Like if a person maybe is in an abusive relationship, they can say they're not being treated well, but well, they just feel like maybe that's all they can get, right? Like they don't deserve better. So that's why some people, when others say, no, this is not a good realm, this is not a good place, we prefer a place that's better than this, they look at the person and be like, oh, you're just weak, you're just this. No, they're not weak. They know what they deserve, right? They know that they can have something better than this. And we're not just talking about people gaining success in this realm, but just a realm that's actually better than this, you know, because you don't want to be in a realm where you are forced to compete for survival. That is just wrong, right? That is just wrong. There's nothing wrong with competition, bro. Like people, like I was playing snooker this weekend. I enjoyed playing snooker. We were having fun playing snooker. I've lost some games, but it's beautiful. Even when you lose, you know it's just a game. You know you can be like, you know what, I'm gonna stop playing. Let me just go and chill somewhere, or let me go and do something else. You know, you're not playing for survival. You're just having fun. So human beings do like competing. But if you have to compete for survival, you're like, yo, if I don't win, I'm not eating today. That's not right. It shouldn't be like that in a realm that is good, in a realm that you were put in so that you can thrive. It shouldn't be like that. It should be obvious to you that you were put here for a different reason, not for you to thrive, not even for you to learn. Learning isn't supposed to be hard. A lot of people think that you learn better when you are going through hardship. No, not really. You know why we think that? I'm gonna show you. It's because we are in a hell realm and we don't think we are. So when we go through tough times, that reminds us and we think we're learning. You see? We expect the world to be better than it is, but it's not. So we are learning that it is not. So we think that it's through hardships that we actually learn. But no, we don't learn things that actually make us better. We just realize the truth that no, we are actually in a hell room. You see? It's not like you're learning and you're gonna become better. And no. It's not. It doesn't work that way. You know, learning should be fun. People learn better when they're having fun, bruh. All the things that I've learned and I've become very good at, I was having fun while learning these things. I wasn't being tortured. There wasn't someone with a shambok beating me and be like, yo, learn how to do. Like, no, that's not gonna help. That's actually not gonna help. You become demoralized. It starts to feel like abuse. You know, even if you do learn, a part of you will have died, so you don't even get to enjoy anything, you know. But I know a lot of people who became demoralized because they've been through a lot in life. So we don't really learn from hardship, you know. You actually learn from having fun, basically. Like when you're having fun, that's when you actually learn to be better at things, you know. You can learn to be more confident. You can learn to be more outspoken, you know. The best can come out because you're now having fun. You're not living in fear. You're not being told that you mustn't be yourself, you know. Because we think we're free to be ourselves. They will tell you that you must be yourself, but you know that when you're being yourself, because society has been programmed to be against people being individuals, you're not going to be treated well, and you're probably not going to be accepted by many institutions that are supposed to help you. So it's a trap. They'll tell you be yourself because they know that you want to be yourself, but they'll never truly allow you to be yourself. They're never going to give you what you need to actually be yourself, to develop yourself. You're supposed to work for the system. You're supposed to allow the system to control you. So that's making this experience very difficult, you see. A lot of people don't even realize that that's what's going on. I just tell you it's not a hell realm. But one thing that you must understand, and this is something that's very important, something that I've realized when I was um, trying to convince people that something is wrong with this world. We're not operating at the same level of awareness. That is the truth. We're not operating at the same level of awareness as people. You know, some people are operating at a very high level of awareness, so they know if things are wrong. They'll be able to tell you. Some people can sense danger without having to do much. Some people are able to put two and two together. Some people are like NPCs. They believe that things are what they seem. They're very easy to program. They're very easy to manipulate. You know. Some people are very easy to manipulate. It's so crazy, bro. Ever seen a person get manipulated and you think they know they're being manipulated? They are just trying to play a game with this person. And you realize that, no, this person doesn't know they're being manipulated. You're like, what the hell? Like, this should be this should be obvious to you, but it's not. So we can't say we're operating at the same level of consciousness. I'm supposed to see if you're being manipulated and I'm being manipulated if you are conscious. It's not just about perspective, you know? Like everything boils down to perspective. Yeah, on another level it does, but when you look at things more accurately, then it doesn't only boil down to perspective. There is still truth that actually exists, you know. There are higher truth in this place. There are things that are more true than other things, more real than other things. There are people who are more sane than others, more conscious than others. That's why some people have high quality perspectives. They have perspectives that can actually liberate everyone. But well, because we live in a hell realm, people still respond better to power. Like if you're charismatic, people are going to respond better to you, not the one who's right. The same way I've given you this example, the same way that as a guy, you're probably going to respond better to a woman who's beautiful, who doesn't love you, than you would respond to a woman who's not beautiful but who loves you. You see? So the one who loves you is the one that's going to treat you better 100%, but they don't have the charisma that this other one has. So you're going to gravitate towards the one with charisma. You see? Because that's power is power, like that lady in Game of Thrones said. Like sometimes it's not about being right. Nature is powerful. We shouldn't pretend as if it ain't. It isn't. Nature is powerful. So you can see that we were not really meant to be free, to have fun, to make the best choices for ourselves. We're supposed to live a lie, allow those who are favored by nature to manipulate us and control us and actually live their best lives, right? Because these are the people who become successful in life very easily. Some people's lives are very easy, you know that. Some people don't have to struggle like you have struggled. Like they don't. In fact, they are the ones who are making others struggle. Like things were very easy for them. People just like them. No matter where they went, people just like them. You've even had to hate everyone because, well, it felt like no one even likes you. You know, you were mistreated by people. People weren't being fair to you. People were being mean to you. And now that you hate everyone, they hate you more. Because they don't even understand what you've been through, how others have treated you. Because we can't pretend as if human beings are fair. They treat everyone fairly. No, we don't. Some people, we bully them for real. We bully them for real. Some people, we worship them. And not because they've done anything. No, they don't have to have done anything. There can be a person who cares about us and who does everything right and who has the best intentions, and we mistreat this person, we overlook this person, we bully this person. There can be this person who does nothing at all. And we worship this person. We elevate this person. You see? It's not even fair. So you can see that it's a setup. You know, people are supposed to suffer. Because how do you not suffer if things are like that? How are those who are not favored by life, how are not favored by nature, how are they not going to suffer if it's like that? If they have to do too much to get you know what I'm saying? Like, to just get what others do nothing to get. So you can see that it was a setup. Things are the way that they are simply because we are in a hell room. If we want to tell ourselves the opposite of that just to feel better, we must know that that's not really going to make things better. Maybe we will feel better, but that doesn't mean that things are actually going to be better. Some truths are very painful. There's a reason why people are afraid of the truth. Some truths are really painful. If things needed to be worse than they are, they would be. But we're kept under control, and it's working for what it was created to do. The whole matrix is working, you know. If you're milking a cow, you're not milking a cow because you just want to torture it. It might not like what you're doing, but if you feel like you got enough milk, or it's not gonna produce more milk today, you let it go, because your intention isn't just to torture it. Like, of course, you to get what you want, you must torture it, but it isn't. Your intention isn't to torture it; it's to get what you want. So we are not really suffering because something just wants us to suffer. It wants to get what it wants, but it can't get what it wants without us suffering. The same way that the parents that I was talking about, who buy a cactus for their kids, they wanted to see something funny. So their kids, of course, because they're scared, they'll react in a way that will make them laugh. They wouldn't really want their kids to be scared, but they want to laugh. You know, they're bored. They wanna laugh. It's funny. They want to upload a video that's gonna trend on YouTube, a video that's gonna trend on TikTok. So they can't really do that without scaring their kid. So they do that, and their kid is scared, but it works because they get what they want out of that. You see, there ain't that many humans who are horrible, or let me not even say humans, but earthlings in general, who are horrible for the sake of being horrible. They want to get something. Even the worst psychopath you could think of, they wouldn't hurt their victims because they just want to hurt them for the sake of hurting them. You know, that wouldn't be the reason. They will hurt them because they are getting something out of that. Maybe they feel good after hating them, and people want to feel good. I remember, I think I've watched a video where I don't remember if it was Jeffrey Dahmer or someone, but it was a psycho who was being, interviewed. He was asked how it feels like to murder a person, and he would explain it. Like, he would explain it in a way that would make you think, hey, this person must have really felt good after committing their crimes, because that's what they wanted. They're not just doing it for the sake of doing it. When we steal honey from bees, we don't steal honey from bees because we just want to steal honey from bees just for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, nature has programmed us to have to cause suffering in order to get what we want. And you want to tell me that this is not a hell room? Like, does that make sense to you? You must cause suffering to get what you want. And even if you're going to be like, you know what, I'm going to be a saint, I'm not going to cause suffering to get what I want. Nature will still find a way to make you cause suffering to get what you need to survive. You see? It's a trap. So you might tell yourself that, you know what, it's fine, I'm not going to be like Jeffrey Dahmer. No, it's fine, I'm not going to steal from anyone to get what I want. I'm not going to manipulate anyone to get what I want. I'm not going to be greedy to get what I want. It's fine, it's fine. I'll let people have what they can have. I will have what I can have, even if I want more, you know. I will share. I'll compromise. But still, you gotta survive. So we find ourselves competing. We find ourselves eating animals. You don't want to eat. I don't think people would really want to eat animals. Like, there are animals that you look at and that you don't eat. You just let them be. I mean, unless, like, if you see a rat in the bushes, you don't be like, oh, I want to kill that rat. You only want to kill it when it invades your space. But if you see a rabbit, you want to kill it because you were programmed to eat it. It's crazy. Except for those who eat rats. I think there's some people who eat rats. We're different. I guess it also has to do with where you grew up. But all of that tells us that we're in our own room. Doesn't tell us the opposite of that. The fact that people feel hopeless, they get to a point where they feel so hopeless that they are willing to do horrible things just to die. That tells you something. That tells you how alone people feel. And no one wants to feel alone. You can think that, no, if someone says this is bad, I'm gonna try to be positive to make myself look like my perspective is better. And it seems that way most of the time. You can try to be like a therapist, try to make things seem better than they are. Like, yeah, I understand that life is hard, but there's a lot that we're learning as people, there's progress that we're making. Look at where we are technologically, look at what we're able to do. We're evolving as a species. We used to be apes. Look at where we are now, look at you. Like, try to appreciate the things that you have. Look at how you're dressed. Look at how you talk. Blah 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 blah. It sounds like that perspective is higher than this perspective. My perspective, my original perspective. It may feel like no, the perspective is higher because a person is being positive, and it sounds like they're being positive, but really they're being negative because there are a lot of things that they are failing to acknowledge. There are a lot of things that are going on that they are failing to acknowledge. And that might cause a lot of bad things to happen. It's like if you are in a situation where maybe you want kids, right? You're like, I want kids. I want to have kids. But you can see beyond unreasonable doubt that, things might not get better for you. Maybe you already have kids. So you can say that, because we live in a world where no one is going to want to help your kid just because you're poor. It doesn't work like that. But you don't assess your situation and be like, nah, I'm still going to have kids. More kids, I'm going to have more kids. Now your kids are suffering. You see, now there's more people in the world who don't even know what to do with their lives. Because human beings, we need each other, right? Your children need you. They need a parent who's responsible, who's going to help them, who's going to groom them. Life isn't that easy. It's not like a human baby can grow up without anyone taking care of it. It doesn't work that way. We need to be groomed, and we need to be groomed by the right people. If you're raised by the wrong people, your life is probably going to suck. Ever seen a kid and you just knew that if this kid doesn't suffer as an adult, yeah, the kid is special, or the kid is extremely lucky, because you can see how the kid is being treated by his or her parents. So it's not being negative if you say, hey, look, I do not have money for real. I don't have money. I can't even afford to buy my own clothes. I can't even afford to buy my own food. I have to borrow money every month from people to buy food. I have to do things I don't want to do just to be able to afford food. So, and if I bring a child into this world, I won't even be able to do some of these things, because now I'll have to be taking care of the child. So let me not have a child. That's not negative. That's positive, because that's going to lead to positive results. But if you're going to pretend as if things are okay, then you're going to make things worse, because you're believing things are better than they are. You see the problem? It's like if there's a person in your life who's evil, but you choose to see the good in them, like only focus on the good, but this person is straight up evil. What do you think is going to happen? Like people who will try to tame wild animals, but some of these animals are like straight up ruthless. But they try to see good in these animals, and then one day these animals kill them. And now the whole world is shocked. But it's something that we could have expected. It's crazy that we are shocked when horrible things happen in this world. But we know that horrible things happen. Like there's a day that we wake up and horrible things do not happen. Horrible things happen all the time in this world. I'm not shocked when horrible things happen, because it's much easier to cause negative things to happen than it is to cause positive things to happen. It sucks that every human is very capable of making someone's life 10 times worse than it is, but not every human can make someone's life 10 times better than it is. Like even if you want. We need to be honest about the reality of our existence here. It helps. The only thing that we need to be doing is realizing how things are working and see if we can make things a bit better. We do not make things better by lying to ourselves. I think that's the mistake that we've been making throughout history. We never deal with the actual problems. We deal with the symptoms of the problems. So if you come across someone who is interested in dealing with the actual problems, right, who tell you what the actual problems are, you start judging them. Like those who are really going to tell you the truth, these are the people that you're going to judge. These are the people that you're going to gaslight. But those who are going to lie to you, these are the people that you're going to like, because they make you feel good. You see? We like to blame those who are addicted to drugs, but we don't realize that even ourselves are addicted to something the same way that they're addicted to. Because, people are addicted to drugs because they want to get high very easily. They want to feel positive emotions easily, right? We are addicted to lies because we want to feel positive emotions easily. You see? So if there's a person who's lying to us, that temporal feeling that we get when they're lying to us, we're addicted to it. So when someone tells us the truth, we're like, no, that's not being strong. It's like if you're addicted to drugs, you want to feel good, but it's only going to last for a while, and you want to do it as easily as possible, right? But it's also damaging you in other ways, right? So even these lies, when someone tells us lies and we feel good for a while, these lies are also damaging us in some ways. You see? It's not like these lies are making things better. No, they're not. So it's better to truly acknowledge the truth. Be like, okay, this is the truth. This is the reality of our world. And realize that you're not being negative when you acknowledge the truth. Like other people be telling you that you're being negative. If we're having a negative experience, we need to be honest about that. That, okay, this is actually a negative experience. We don't want it to be a negative experience, but being brought into a world where you're supposed to do a lot of what you do not want without your consent because you are here, you are in it, that is not a positive thing. Right? That is automatically a negative thing. We can gaslight those who tell us that all we want, but that is actually a negative thing. The same way, if you watch the movie The Maze Runner, people being put in this place where they need to find a way out. They don't really remember their past. Whether they are put there, like those who put them there because maybe they're trying to train them, whatever. If they didn't consent, if the visions of them that are having that experience didn't even consent, then that's wrong. So pretending as if we're not in a hell room, if everything is telling us that this is a hell room, that is not going to help us. That is why people do not want to make hard decisions. You watch movies like Avengers Infinity War. I think it's one of the most brilliant movies, and that tells us a lot about ourselves as humans, about our refusal to accept the truth so that we can come up with solutions that will actually work. Reality is harsh. Nature is harsh. If we tell ourselves that it isn't, we're going to come up with solutions that don't actually work. Look at Thanos. Like, Thanos was wrong, blah, blah, blah. No, he didn't rely on his emotions. Thanos was more right than everyone in that movie because he sacrificed his own happiness to make the universe better. It wasn't about his emotions. He had to sacrifice the only person that he loved in the world, because he believed that he can actually save the universe. He told the people in his own planet that, hey, look, we are running out of resources. If there was only half of people who are living here, we will actually be able to thrive again. But we can't now because we're running out of resources. So maybe the solution is that we create a system that's gonna get rid of people. And as much, it sounds horrible, but then when you realize like some decisions are just hard. You know what I'm saying? Like that decision would have worked. Like if they listened to him, it would have worked. It would have saved his home planet, and it would have been fair. So he became traumatized, and he was like, he now has to save the whole universe without actually listening to anyone. Realizing that humans will never truly understand him. I've seen many movies where villains were actually right and human beings were relying so much on their emotions. You see, so they never come up with real solutions, so they don't see the real truth. And that makes it impossible for them to solve their problems. So their problems continue to exist because they're not. What they do is maybe they come up with solutions that are not even real solutions. Really, these solutions just make it seem like the problems are not there, or even if they're there, but they're not as bad as they are, right? Like the way that we're treating HIV, right? Like if you have HIV, like we don't come up with real treatment, and it's like it's all by design. You mean to tell me that they wouldn't, if they really wanted to treat HIV, they wouldn't be able to treat HIV? Really, really? Look at the technological level that this world operates on, and they can't treat HIV. Now, that's unbelievable. So obviously, if there's something that we're doing wrong that's preventing us from actually solving the problems that we have as a collective, and as long as we're continuing to do these things that are wrong, then society will never be better. You know, if we are gaslighting those who are speaking the truth, if we are trying to diagnose people who actually see things as they are, like, oh, you gotta be suffering from, depression, you gotta be suffering from anxiety, without actually listening to what they have to say. You're just poor. You've just suffered a lot in life. That's why you think this way. You're too negative. You're a nihilist. Like, no, try to listen to what I'm saying. Tell me what you don't believe about what I'm saying and why you don't believe the things that you don't believe about what I'm saying. Try to debate with me without you judging me, because that doesn't help. Even if you think I have depression, it doesn't mean that I'm wrong. A person with depression can be right. Even if you think I'm angry, doesn't mean that I'm wrong. Because we like to, like when people tell us the truth, we like to judge them, right? Like, okay, you are angry, you are just emotional, you're just sad, you're just this and that. It's like, okay, and you're just stupid. Should we now be judging each other like we're in a rap battle instead of actually having a discussion that's actually going to make things better? Listen to what I'm saying, let me listen to what you're saying. Whether I'm depressed or not, whether I'm angry or not, whether I had a negative life or not, let's listen to each other. Let's see what actually makes sense, other than judging each other. We can't pretend as if just because maybe someone is depressed, they cannot be right. I've listened to a lot of people who suffer from depression who actually speak the truth, and you'll be like, huh? Do you actually suffer from depression or from realism, something like that? Like, what is actually going on? We are very weak as a society. The way that we fear truth is beyond me. People are afraid of truth in their relationships. They're afraid of the truth about themselves, about the companies they work for, about their feelings, about their actions. A person can do something horrible but still think that they're good because it's them who did that horrible thing. Like, no, I'm good. People see what they want to see about themselves. It doesn't help. What helps is people actually seeing things as they really are, without lying to themselves, without trying to color anything, without trying to, speaking the truth, without trying to sugarcoat anything, being as real as possible, being as honest as possible, other than trying to be perfect. Because we live in a society now where everyone is trying to be perfect, because that's when they gain success. It's much easier to gain success when you're perfect, right? When you appear to be perfect in front of everyone, than if if people notice some flaws, as if you can't have flaws as a human. You didn't choose to be the way that you are. You were born in this realm the way that you are, so you are the way that you are. There isn't much that we need to see to actually realize that this is a hell room, but there is a lot that we might need to do in order to like set ourselves free. It seems like we're not really headed towards that direction. We're not headed to freedom. We're actually headed towards the wrong direction. And if we're not smart enough, we might find ourselves in a situation that's much worse than the situation that we're in. Because the technological level that this world operates on is beyond a lot of us. There are a lot of things that are now possible because of technology. It can get to a point where they create digital prisons. They create simulations, trap you in a computer, trap your consciousness inside a computer, and all these kind of things. That's why we need to move carefully as a society. You know, agree to things that actually make sense to us, things that we actually understand. Because we've already agreed to a lot of things that might have never been best for us. You know, like if like an artist signs a contract with a record label, and they even read everything, they don't know the terms and conditions, and then boom, they get to suffer because of that. Now they are in a 10-year deal that they can't escape, and it's not something that they initially wanted to agree to. So if you want, they're broke while they're making money. So life needs us to assess everything, to see things as they are. You know, to see when we're being manipulated, when we're being lied to, when we're being played, without trying to see the positive. Like, yes, there's always going to be something positive about the situation. There's always going to be something that's negative about the situation. But let's try to see reality for what it is. This ain't even about what's positive and what's negative. Let's just try to see the reality of our situation, right? If you are in prison, you are in prison. Even if there are positive things that you are experiencing, there will be positive things that you experience in prison. They'll be giving you free food. You don't have to pay for anything, really. You're just there. So you can say that's positive, right? I've heard people say that. But there's also negative things that you experience in prison. But still, whether you experience negative things or positive things, it doesn't mean that you're not in prison. You see? You'll experience positive things in prison. You'll experience negative things in prison. So you will experience negative things in this room, and you also experience positive things in this room. But that doesn't mean that you're not in a hell room. It's just not as worse as it could have been. Because it doesn't even need to be. This is working for whatever created it. You see? And that's why things are the way that they are. Thank you all guys for watching until the end. Like the video, comment, tell me what you think, share the video. Remember someone told me that they watched the video until the end and I don't respond to comments. No, I do respond to comments, but usually on the next video, like I'll read the comments, but so this is what this person is saying, and then I will quote what they've said on the next video. That's how I usually respond to comments. If I see a comment that I like, I'm gonna like it. And if people ask me questions, I usually answer on the comments. So I do respond to comments. Thank you all guys.